Hey everybody, welcome to the Purpose People podcast. Today I've got Ceri from Hangry Studios. So
Hello.
how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
So you are the other half of Hangry Studio.
Yes.
Just tell us what Hangry Studio actually does.
So we're basically a creative agency.
Yeah.
We're trying to focus more on what we're already doing for Hangry Animals to keep it consistent. So people know when they see Hangry Animals, we can then produce the same or similar content to them as Hangry Studio.
Right.
The Hangry Studio can. So it's branding, apps, character branding. Currently developing a toy right now, and the sample's on its way. So it's a nice cuddly toy, which I'd like to do more of.
Yeah.
Then, websites, apps, and things like that.
Right. So that's not all you've done, though, is it? You've been in very many different fields. So
yes,
let's go back. You were at school? What was the dream? You know, when I grow up, I want to be what did you have a?
Okay, so when I was really young, I was a vet to help animals, and obviously then I started to realise that actually you're not just looking after them, you will obviously have to possibly put them down, surgery, things like that. So I think from quite a young age, I mean, to about 6 or 7, it was very much, I can't do that. You know, I know it's good for them and things have to happen, but I think I was too young to be like, no, not doing that. So that was like the main dream. But what I didn't realise was at the time, I was actually making my own magazines. I was cutting really nice photographs and making like sketchbooks, scrapbooks of photographs, advertising. Bizarrely, at that age, it was really bizarre.
Well, I'm just smiling because, like you said, you've gone from a vet, and your company's called Hangry Animals.
Yes.
So you're still working with animals as a vet.
Yes.
You're a vet in the creative world now.
Yeah, so I have gone full circle. But what's nice is when I was younger, it was animals and creativity, and now it's animals and creativity again.
So you used to like make magazines?
Yes. Didn't sell them or anything. I would just A4 pieces of paper stapled, and then puzzles, writing things, drawing things.
It's so funny, isn't it? What you do as a kid often manifests itself much later on in life.
Yes.
And I guess you really enjoyed that sort of stuff, right?
Yeah, and I didn't know it was a job.
You just did it because it was a thing.
Yeah, and it turns out that actually that was a graphic designer does.
Yeah, amazing.
So even through school, I didn't know that was a potential for a job.
And often I find with school, it's that until you do careers day, you're only at mercy to the person sat opposite you as careers person of what's out there.
Yes.
And we're not really exposed to all these other things. You know, like for me, I grew up when my dad was in the forces, you know, and although he'd come out of that, he didn't know too much else around that. He'd never come to me and goes, hey, you're good at drawing. Have you thought about being a graphic designer? He wouldn't know.
Yeah.
He knew we were good at drawing, but he had no idea of these other careers.
Yes.
And I think that's where school can be a lot better. It's like, you know, wouldn't it be good if someone could see you when you were younger, do that? Go, oh, did you know there's a job you could do this full time?
Exactly. Yeah.
It's just incredible.
Yeah. There was. I do remember I can't think what it was called, but it was pink, and there was just a long list of things you could do. And you just had to do a little matrix thing where you had to put the pencil mark, and then they would run it through a computer and tell you what you would be good at. I
remember that, you know.
I can't remember what it's called. So mine came up. The first one was a landscape designer, and the second one was a policewoman.
Really?
So those were my two. And I was like, well, that's not me. That's not me at all. But that was the nearest we had for Careers Day.
One of the early days of scorecards, I guess.
Yeah.
It's an early scorecard, isn't it?
So it wasn't until I left, I did my A-levels and left to do a foundation course, did I find, I guess, my people.
Yep.
I was around people that we understood each other. They saw the world similar to me as well. So we saw colours, textures, patterns, light and things like that. So that's where product design and graphic design then became the sort of the core topics.
Yeah. And so you leave school, and what's the first job you went into?
I actually went to uni to do a graphics course. But bear in mind, I did these things because I didn't know where else to do.
So what were you doing at uni?
Graphics.
All right, so you just carried on knowing what you wanted to do.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's funny, isn't it?
That was the only thing that made sense. I enjoyed photography, but that was more of a hobby, and that still is now.
Did you do the red room? Is it the room with the red light room?
Oh, the dark room.
Dark room,
yes,
that's the one.
Yes, the school, fair play, the school did actually, they found a little storage room and actually built me like a little dark room in there. But I didn't know what I was doing. I just read the instructions for the chemicals and then gave it a go.
Yeah, we did I remember the dark room at college, and then you have to put the film in the camera in pitch darkness.
Yes.
I used to find that so hard.
Yeah, no, I loved it because I worked in a camera shop as well. So sometimes if the film didn't come out, we'd have to go into the box. There'd be like a box and you kind of got to do it blind and you got to get the film out and put it into a different canister. And yeah, so I enjoyed that.
Yeah, my brother worked at a company called London Camera Exchange. They were based in Bristol. And they used to get loads of free photography. That was part of the thing. Yes. So probably our teenage years, he's probably got most of them, to be fair. It was documented, not on a phone, but there's certainly of my brother's like camera collection.
Yeah.
But the principles of cameras and stuff moved on, and I think when me and Claire got married in 2001, my photographer I used to use as an art director had a Hasselblad camera, and he bought a digital back, one of the first digital back cameras that they were. And he did a shoot on digital for us way back in 2001. And we got it, we got all the photos on a disc or whatever, and that was unheard of back then.
Yeah.
So it's like one of the early days, and now it's obviously iPhones and all that have come about. But I remember the darkroom experience, that whole journey. But it's just like whole industries just disappeared because of digital,
And the skill as well.
And the skill, and that was it. It was like the skill, the cropping, the framing, the doing the paper, the toning, the burning, all that sort of stuff just all gone. Like you got a burn tool, haven't you, in Photoshop?
It's not the same.
It's
not. I actually found I still got all my black and white photos on my slides and things. I've still got those. And there's just the grain and the grit and the dust and the hair marks that I know you can do in Photoshop, but there's just a depth there with the real stuff that has actually gone. It's almost handmade to a certain point, where it just has that little bit more life to it.
There's a picture with me and my college buddies, with me with a New York Yankees baseball shirt on with a hat backwards. I was put in the shapes like this. And my kids found it the other day, and it was done.
Yeah.
We shot it, and then it was done in the darkroom and exposed onto the paper. Nice. And that was like, it's still knocking around, that picture. It seems like yesterday, but it isn't. It's like a long while ago.
Yeah.
So you're at uni, and you're doing this graphic design type career, but there's part of you that thinks, you're doing the graphic design career, but did you think that you want to get away from it? Because you're trying to figure out what to do, or did you just lean into it and see where it took you?
I leaned into it because I still didn't know what I wanted to do. I think my life has always been, I've gone with the flow.
Yeah.
Very much so. Hardworking, I'll do the best I can, whatever comes my way.
Yeah.
And I think I knew that deep down, that I would try my best at whatever. It didn't work out, I move on.
Yeah.
And I think I've always had that without realizing. Even as a young child, I think I had that. So something unexpected happened. So I was doing my degree course, and somebody that I knew was actually working in a company within the college. Then they were leaving because they had another job.
Okay.
So a space came up, and I was recommended to apply for the job, and I got the job.
Oh, well done.
So weirdly, I was working in the college by that point, but I was a graduate then.
Yeah.
And as a graphic and web designer.
Okay.
So that continued.
So back then, was that sort of like graphic design then would have been straight to plate? Like from a file to print and press? Or did you have to still shoot stuff on camera and that sort of stuff?
I didn't do any for those. So photography was all mine. That was like a hobby then.
Yeah.
But in terms of graphics, it was digital by that point. I think we were the first graphic students to start looking into web.
Okay.
I think we were kind of that first sort of generation where they realized they needed creative people to create websites and interfaces and things like that.
Yeah.
So I was doing a bit of both. Couldn't do code. I wasn't a coder. I could design and think about usability and things like that.
That would have been like Dreamweaver and Flash and Fireworks and that sort of world. Yeah. My favourite program was Freehand, and then it was bought by, it was Alda's Freehand that got bought by Macromedia that had Flash and Dreamweaver and that sort of stuff. And then the evil giant that is Adobe bought them, and then they killed my favorite program and went to Illustrator. Oh, such an inferior program. But I remember the reason why I brought the print stuff up, because I did a year. So when I finished school, I did like a YT program just to get the work experience. Because someone had said to me, who was at the end of their like, you need 10, and I couldn't get a job, and so it's really hard. He said he knows someone, a couple of people that had a work experience and they've gone straight into work.
Oh, okay.
So he said, do that. And everyone thought it was a bit mad, but I thought, no, I'll do it. I didn't need the YT. I could have gone straight in. And I did a year's worth of experience. Then fast forward 4 years later, I got a job straight away. Nice. One interview, one job. But a lot of it was to do with the work experience, because they knew that this guy could deliver. The reason I bring it up, because in that process, from a period of about 5 years, within 2 years, that whole shoot stuff on a camera and then on film and then put it onto a plate just died.
Yeah.
Literally just gone. So by the time I started that journey to the time I'd finished and got a job, the industry was gone. 5 years, gone. And then I remember it was probably maybe the second year or maybe third year, then the web started to emerge.
Yeah, I think it was the same with us.
Yeah.
I remember the first year, it was all hand generated. Everything we did, we had to make posters, all the letters, cut all the letters out. We had to do all of that.
Glue it up with the wax and stick them in place.
Yeah. And then by the second year, we started using computers. So like you said, using Photoshop for the first time and understanding layers.
Yeah.
Pulled my hair out many times. Illustrator, like you said, the pen tool. Absolute nightmare trying to work out how that works. So then by the third year, it was web. We were doing print and web based. Yeah,
because that's why I like freehand, because it's literally one pointer tool could do all of it. But whereas on Illustrator, you had to use a different pointer to do different things.
Yes.
It's like, why? But it was incredible, the pace. I look back now, and it's how I was actually offered a job in a printer that I was doing part YT in the artworking department. And then I was heavily involved in the planning department, which is when they shot the artwork, it then turned into a negative. And then if you had dust on the camera, you had to spot it out with the paint. And they offered me a job, and I almost said yes because it was really good pay. And then I can't remember where I spoke to someone, and they just said, this industry's going. And I was like, what do you mean? To the point that even an image, a picture, you'd have a transparency and you would scan it on a drum. You'd have like a glass drum, you would get a transparency, so like it's a piece of film, like photo on it, and you would it's like a liquid, and it would stick to it, and then it would spin, and then the thing would scan it in like that. And it was a lucrative industry.
Yeah.
But within those 5 years, both the planning and the color scanning of images just gone.
Yeah, because I don't remember that at all.
Yeah.
I think for me,
gone.
Yeah, I'm starting to wonder if digital. I don't think printing digitally was massive, but I think it was starting.
Yeah.
So then, because I can remember then dealing with digital printers when I started freelancing.
Yeah.
So it was.
But it just reminds me when I think back how quickly that industry died. It was just like it was there. People getting exceptionally well paid. I remember doing some work experience at the color scanning place, and they were spinning these drums, and then we're just like charging £100 just to scan the photo in. All they're doing is pressing the button. It would do it automatically, and that was it. And it was like they were printing money, and they were driving around in top of the range Mercedes, and then within 2 years, all gone, the whole thing. And these machines weren't cheap, and they were just dinosaurs in the end. And now you would just, flatbed scanner maybe, and stick it up, it's done. And then you would take a picture, and it's digital anyway. Yeah. Just how it changed. But for me, with the web, that was strange, because there was no like graphic design with web, was it? It was all like pretty standard.
Yes,
tables.
And then
all the designers were then trying to make it look nicer on screen. So you'd have a nice brochure, and then you have the website. It's like, oh, this looks like someone's done it in their bedroom.
Yeah.
So it's a while before that emerged into what it was. So you're working in the college.
Yes.
Yeah, and then how long did you stay there for before you left?
Yeah, it was funded, so it must have been a couple of years.
Yeah.
But weirdly, at the time, I thought I was just going to lose all sense of creativity. And I'd heard that the course that I did as the BA course, they were starting a master's course.
Okay.
So when I found out, I phoned them up and I need to do this because the work that I was doing in the job wasn't exactly fueling my creativity. It was pretty much the boss would tell me what to do and I had to do it. And then I phoned up. They actually were a bit disappointed because they wanted me to teach on the masters, which I thought was odd because I've never done a master. You have to have the qualifications and whatnot. So I did the course part-time with that as well. So I was doing that at the same time. And then the project was funded. There was a lot of, it went from like 10 people to then 5 to then the 2 of us. And I was like, I'm out. I'm going. I can't wait to see what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
So I left and started freelancing.
Wow. And what was that like? Because as a freelancer, it's like you don't know, you go from a steady salary to now I've got to deliver all the time.
Yeah.
I don't think people really, me personally, I don't think people, admire is probably the wrong word, but appreciate, that's the word, how hard it is to be a freelancer in that industry. Because you can't have an off day because they just hire someone else.
Yes.
Like as an art director, which I was, it was like, we need a concept for this today. Okay. And you're like, oh my gosh, I better come up with something or they're going to ask Bill next week instead of me. It was like that.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I was pretty good at what I did and I managed to do well. But there were other people that we got in generally and you're like, they were there for 2 weeks and never saw them again.
Yeah.
So it's a very tough world, I think, freelancing.
It is. But I think I might have been naive because I had, I don't remember struggling or feeling like I was struggling. Yeah. But I was also, I don't know, maybe I trusted myself. Looking back, I was trying to figure out why wasn't I worried? Because I should have been, because we had a house by that point and we were mortgaged and I was just like, why? Looking back, it's like I just did it and I just did my best. There was, I don't think there was any time. I didn't worry about the mortgage either at all. It was something but I should have. I probably should have a bit more at the time.
But what was good, because I remember freelancing in one place. It was a large corporate and there were people there that were doing artwork. And I was like, oh my gosh, this must be the most boring job in the world. And I'm like, no, I'm doing this because it's paying me to build my house.
Yeah.
And it was just like, that was the first time I realised that there were some people that generally were just doing it for a job. Yeah. And they really didn't care. They had no aspirations to come up with a winning campaign. And it took me a while to get my head around it, but they were using it as a means to ends to put the roof on their house or whatever. I remember one particular job, they were doing all the application forms for a bank, like every single application form. And they decided that they would pay them a 6-figure sum. And they have to work doing that until every form was done. And I can't remember how many forms it was, but like, I think they gave him a figure and then they gave him a number of application forms to do and they just agreed to it.
Wow.
But one application could be 1 page or it could be 12. And this guy was employed for about 1.5 years doing it all. Wow. But he was the guy that literally used that money to put a roof on his barn. Yeah. And I was like, I never knew that was you, because naturally you're creative. I'm thinking I want to make an impact. This person's like, I'm not creative. I'm just doing this, and I'll get it done. Someone's got to do it. Now they do it on a website. Yeah. You can do it just all done on a website. And it's done. So it's a big shift. So I never experienced that. Like for me as a freelancer, it was like always about making impact, coming in as a gun for hire and delivering and getting it done, and then getting on to the next project. So I was very much like project led rather than. Just means to an end, making money. But you're obviously good at what you did. And so did you just freelance forever or? No,
so I freelanced for a while and then I think I was keeping an eye out on jobs just in case, because I didn't want to miss the opportunity of like the perfect job with a perfect company. Yeah. And that's when I started teaching. Okay. So the master course that I was on actually wanted me to come back to teach a few things. Yeah. So I did that. I found the local council were looking for like adult tutors. all these were funded as well. So they were very much short term, maybe like a year or two. There was a couple of other initiatives that were very similar, like organizations that help people in the community. So I was going around showing people how to use a camera or how to use clip art or how to use, basically computers in the library.
Okay.
And I really enjoyed that because I was out and about all the time, meeting new people.
Yeah.
It was very short term as well. So I think a lot of short term stuff seemed to suit me, where I could just go in, do what I needed, and then go and do the next thing. Then while I was doing that, I then started teaching in the uni a lot more. Doing like teaching on the foundation course to cover maternity leave, for example.
Yeah.
So teaching then started to become a thing.
Yeah.
I never had a PGC, didn't qualify. It was just something I did, and then people kept calling me back. So there was clearly something there, which I was surprised with.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to. One thing I didn't want to do, I didn't want to be like my mum because she was a teacher, and I've ended up being like my mum. So
Funny,
the whole
hey?
teacher part, not in a bad way, but there was, I wanted to do something different. I didn't want to be like my mum. I wanted to be my own person, but it turns out teaching seems to run in the family.
It was quite funny is that like Claire, so when I first met Claire was a teacher. So that's what she did. She used to teach French to loads of secondary school kids, which was a really tough job.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, you teach. I'll probably spend more time teaching than anything else. And I look at it and I go, wow, I think Claire's a brilliant teacher, and it's like being able to teach is such a good gift to have even as a creative.
Yeah.
And I don't think it ever leaves you. You want to pass that on to someone else or whatever. But I think there are a lot of teachers in the teaching profession that shouldn't be in that profession.
Yeah.
They should be in another profession, teaching other people. And I think it's a very underrated skill, teaching.
Massively. And I think it's the money-wise as well. It's ridiculous. No, and it shouldn't. We all have our favourite teacher. We all have teachers that have inspired us to become better people, or they saw something in us that maybe nobody else did.
Yeah.
And there's, they need a lot more credit. The work involved as well.
Yeah, and I think that was the thing with Claire. It got to the point where she spent more time doing admin than actually teaching. And I think it was just becoming soul destroyed. I mean, she was doing like quadruple entry. So you'd write down their grades, then their grades had to be put in an Excel sheet, then the Excel sheet had to be translated into somewhere on the cloud, and then from somewhere on the cloud it had to be exported to be. It's just like, can't you just like do that to there?
Yeah.
Having worked in software, and they just didn't have the budgets for that sort of stuff.
This is why teachers make good project managers as well.
But it's like you don't have the budget for it, but you've got the budget to waste one of your most valuable members of staff just entering numbers. It's shocking, unbelievable. So you're teaching
and freelancing, half and half.
So when did the idea of Hangry Studio emerge?
That was actually way later, because I actually had 1, 2, 3 jobs. So I freelanced in teaching.
Yep.
Then I went back to industry. So I was actually freelancing for the same company that Andrew was working at. So I started working there as a studio manager, product manager for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Then I really missed helping people and making a difference.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I applied for the job in the prison to manage the
which
arts
is very
creative
different.
Department.
Did it feel different?
I think I saw it as a challenge.
Yeah.
But in a good way. But there was no, like, to me, it was no different.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
But for me, like, you've gone from graphic designer, freelancing, whatever, and now you're in a prison. It's like, wow.
I did. I mean, I was doing the studio manager part and the project management part in the creative agency. And then the prison was managing the creative team.
Oh,
so
okay.
it was actually a natural progression from what I was from what I was doing. But it was great because it was making a difference, helping these young men. There was a mixture of finding new skills, giving them a purpose, but also giving them that quiet space because they could come to us and just be themselves. They didn't have to be, the man on the wings.
Bravado, the ego,
and the team as well, obviously, bringing things up to speed a little bit, bring a bit more digital into the cohort, into the sessions and stuff as well. So it was really good.
So working in that, our budget's like really tight, and you being asked to do a lot of stuff where there's limited resources and computers
Oh yeah, there was no computers in the arts at that point. I don't think. Yes, but I think as a creative and problem solver, you just figure it out.
Yeah.
They were actually really good with the creative arts, to be fair, in terms of they knew the benefits, because it was more of a prison that rehabilitated.
Yeah.
So there was money there now and again for things.
So when you see someone, then were there people that came into that environment where they were quite hardened, and by the end of it, you saw them change through the creative thing?
I think it was more. Not so much. Some during did, but I think it was more the space. So when they were with us, maybe they were a bit more well behaved. But then you go and see them on the wings, and they were completely different people. Not all the time. Yeah. So the officers saw one side, and we saw a different side.
Yeah, of course.
Which was quite interesting. So it was always good to have that open conversation with the officers as well.
Yeah, because I think that's the thing. Like I visited a prison. I went into prisons for about 3 years on a Wednesday afternoon with a young offenders thing, and it was just helping them, you know, on the wings and that sort of stuff, and you would see them on a 1-to-1, and they were one person, and then you'll see them in their crowd, and it's like, oh, is that the same person?
Yeah.
And I remember the heartbreaking thing for me in that world was that a lot of them would reoffend just to get back in.
Yeah.
So they said, I'm out in a week. I was like, oh, well, I hope it all goes well. And they were like, no, I'll be back here in 3 weeks. Why? Well, I'm just going to nick a car, innit? And you're like, what?
It's part of the job.
And they did, because they actually felt safer in than out.
Oh, exactly.
And I think eventually they changed the nature of the prison, and they moved the young offenders on, and then I stopped going in. But it was eye-opening to see good kids locked up that actually had the ability, talent, quite switched on, would rather re-offend because that was a better option than trying to make a go for it out in the world. And and there's people there. I mean, there's one guy, I think his name was Sean. If Sean's listening, hi. But you're not, because of GDPR and stuff like that, you don't know when they get released, you don't know where they go. Yeah. And for me, it's like, I'd love to know what happened to Sean. He was wanting to make a good go of himself and whatever, and he got released, and he never come back. He's just gone, and you just don't know. And the prison team at the time would say, no, no one exchanges details, don't follow up, just let them go. That's one thing you've got to reconcile. You'll make an impact while they're here, but that's it. Yeah. So it was quite cool. But so then Hangry Studio.
No.
When's Hangry Studio come?
It's great. I think it was like maybe every 2 years I'd sort of
every
like
2
just
years
change
to build up to it.
You're
getting all this work experience first before you launch it.
I think this is what it was. I think I just had to trust that journey.
Yeah.
So after that, then I went to a greetings company. So I went from a very male orientated, very strict, you had to be in at the right time and just, so many keys and whatnot, to then a very female orientated Christmas, birthdays, wrapping cards, it's a greetings company. And that job was great as well. So what was nice about that, so I went from managing a team to then going back to be more like a creative. Yeah. It was like a mixture of a creative director and a project manager. Mm-hmm. So you still had to make sure things got done, and you had your tick boxing and whatnot. And that's where I did a few things for Christmas for high street stores as well. And then I got made redundant. Ooh. So like, everybody else. So,
how did you feel about that? Did it feel like a natural, like, okay, I'm made redundant, or were you gutted? Were you like, oh my gosh, I've lost my job? Because I know different people feel different things. So like my brother, for example, has been made redundant a couple of times now, and other people feel like they don't feel good enough. Yeah. Like, why me? Why not the next guy? I guess other people get offered it. Well, this is the deal. Do you want to go? Do you not want to go? I mean, how did you feel in that process?
I was disappointed because I actually enjoyed the job and the people were great.
Yeah.
But it was also, I kind of knew. Okay. It felt a bit last in, first out.
Okay.
I could not compete against, there were some people there that've been there since they were like the designers, and then they'd moved up.
Yeah.
They've gained so much experience, and it was traditional printing as well in that sense. Okay. Because it was very product and factory orientated. I couldn't compete with that. So I knew deep down it was coming, but it was still upsetting, obviously, to have that.
Yeah.
And then I saw it as an opportunity to do something completely different. So I took a bit of time out because I realized now I need to figure out what I want, and now's the time to do it.
Yeah.
I knew I didn't want to go and work for anybody else. That was 100%. I don't want somebody else having control over my life again.
You've done that now.
Done it. I've changed job. There's patterns. You start to see the patterns in terms of how people are treated and what happens, what could happen.
Yeah.
So I was done. I was like, I need to do something for myself. So I was toying with the idea of going back to being like a creative project manager type, so help people with projects, but also team building, because I do a lot of personality profiling as well.
Yeah.
I like Myers-Briggs and things like that to help people, basically to help people get stuff done in terms of creative projects. So that was one idea. Then the other idea was property. I love the idea of flipping houses, but you kind of need money to do that. You kind of need, you know, they say you don't need to.
No, you do.
But
or you need to be an expert in leveraging.
Yeah.
Leveraging finance, leveraging
debt.
And
that was just no for me. That was just, it was too much.
Yeah.
And so I decided to go down that sort of project manager, creative director route. And then the other half would ask me, do you think you could help me with this and that and maybe socials and Hangry Animals? And then I was like, why are you not doing this? Why are you not doing that? We should be doing this. You should be doing that. So that's how I then got on board with Hangry Animals. There was, I think, I was interested, got to know more about the project. I was aware of the project, but now I was kind of getting into the nitty gritty of it, applying for funding and things like that as well. So I could do those things with that. So that was how I got on board with Hangry Animals, doing the social content as well. So while I was doing that, we were both kind of like, we should just do this properly. This is what we should be doing. And then obviously Andrew left his place. So we decided to make a go of Hangry Animals. While we were doing Hangry Animals, when people started to discover that we were actually now available to do work. So Hangry Studio was actually born out of people seeing that we were available and they wanted something similar maybe for them.
Brilliant.
As Hangry Animals. So that's where that came about, because we're like, actually, this is possible now, because we were toying with the idea, do we get part-time jobs so we can still work on Hangry Animals? But Hangry Studio was born out of people wanting us to work for them. It's a pretty cool
niche, isn't it? Because it's character driven and brand and because it's not, people don't think that way, and because of obviously Andrew's gaming background as well and stuff. I like it. I love it. I love the idea. It's great.
Yeah, no, it's great. So there's between us, we've got so much experience, like Andrew with games and apps and the digital and coding element, the character element. But then with me, with the creative, the strategy, the product management, but also the product development as well. So I was more familiar with creating product from a creative perspective. And that's why the toy especially, I'm quite keen to do more toys.
So do you feel then, so all that journey that we talked about led up to now?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. And even to, not just the skills that I've learned, but in terms of the setup, I've got to be honest, I'm not keen on employing people. I do not want that pressure on my head, because I've seen what can happen. I've been on both sides and how quickly things can turn as well. Doesn't mean to say we might not later on. Yeah. But I think for now, we can just focus on the two of us and get done what we need to get done, and then bring people on board. Because I think we've done this at the right time, not just for us as people, but especially since COVID, there's so many people now that wanted to do work for themselves as well.
Oh, massively. And I think it's a huge thing. I mean, a lot of people do. I'm very much of the opinion that not everyone can work for themselves, but I think those that really want to should and give it a go. And those that are a little bit like, I wouldn't mind giving it a go. It's worth doing, whether it works out or it doesn't. But I'm also of the mindset that I always want us to be nimble enough as an organisation that if someone doesn't feel like they want to start their own business but want to express themselves creatively, that we give them room to do it. Yeah, I mean that's kind of where I want to be. I don't want to be so big that you have to do this way. But I want them to say, well, you could take this and you could grow it. Yeah. So we got a few arms to our business, like the podcasting side of things. We started our podcast, and now it's grown, and we're filming podcasts on behalf of our clients. That can go as big as we want it to go. Yeah. And I think that's great. So you've got room to be entrepreneurial, but you're going to get paid at the end of the month. Yeah. So I'm happy with that as well. But I think for you and Andrew working together, it seems like it's always been. That I saw you talk up on stage the other day, and I was like, "Oh, this is cool." and then I saw, like, I've had Andrew obviously on the podcast, and he's like, "This is great." Well, how do you feel? You enjoying it?
Yeah, I think it was. We have worked together before, so I think, and even actually when I was working in the art college as a web graphic designer, Andrew was working in the art college as well, and I think that's when, like, that early on. I mean, we would have been early 20s.
Right.
We realized just because we're together, we don't have to go for lunch together. We don't have to walk to and from work together and things like that. So I think from quite early on, we realized that we don't have to be in each other's pockets, and it's okay for the other person to say, "Oh, actually, I'm going to go here, and I'll see you at the end of the day." You know, so we've done it for over 20 years, really.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, and that's it. I think for me, like working with my wife, I just feel like we're on a mission together.
Yes.
And I'll get people like, "Oh, I can't work with my spouse," whatever. For me, I wouldn't have it any other way.
Oh, yeah, same.
I enjoy it. I mean, I could have been owning a company and working with all these other people, but I'd rather be building something with your other half, which is definitely more meaningful, definitely more enjoyable. And you know, Claire's gone from teaching to running the team and looking after the team. And for me, you know, it's great. It's really cool. It works.
Yeah, I can't. I would do anything not to change the life that we have now. You know, so you do work hard. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes our weekends have been taken up, but then we might do something in the week.
That's the
beauty of it. So it just balances out. Yeah. Yeah,
and I think that, you know, I've said it before. I would say years ago, the family business was like seen as a negative thing. Yeah, family business. But actually, I think it's definitely because of that whole meaning and purpose thing through COVID and people wanting to work for themselves. Yeah. I think it's making a big comeback.
Definitely.
And I certainly in the creative world, I think it's now starting to become a thing. But like in the farming world, it's how it's always been.
Yeah.
You know, so there's some like age-old traditions or age-old businesses that work for that reason, because they know that, you know, they got to harvest at a certain time. It's going to be tough. They know that you know, there are other times where they can say, you know what, we're finished at 2 and we're going to enjoy the fields and the sun. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So I like that flexibility, but it does feel like that when you're building something together, it's that added incentive to get up and go after it and do it.
100%. And I can't wait. You know, we're going to, I say we start small.
Yeah.
But, you know, we're going to be building and testing, but already my brain is thinking global. Brilliant. You know, it's kind of like we're already that step ahead. So, yeah, it's... you know, and something that I enjoy doing. I'm a bit of a fixer as well as a helper. Yeah. So it's just putting a bit more clarity to where Andrew's like trying to do a million things at once. It's let's just focus on one or two and then move as we go and adapt.
That's why you work. There's two different superpowers, you know, one that's like, whoosh, and the other person's like, right, and putting it in place and making it work. So how will people get in touch with Hangry Studio? Have you got a website?
We don't. We've been so busy. There's something that, because obviously Hangry Animals was the main focus, and we've just been getting client work, so we've just been doing the two at the same time. It is on the list.
It's on the list.
But I'm on LinkedIn. I live on LinkedIn now. That's my place. So yeah, just grab me on LinkedIn is probably the best thing while we figure out building the website.
Well, yeah, get the website done, because I think you'll be even busier.
Yeah.
But no, listen, it's been an absolute pleasure to get you on and hear a little bit about your journey and your story. And I mean, the overriding thing for me is it's like you might not know what the future is, but it's like everything that you do actually builds up to what you really want to do.
Yeah, definitely.
And you've ended up where you've always wanted to be.
Yeah.
But you've got all this experience now that you would never have got had you not figured it out.
Yeah, and I've gone full circle back to animals and creativity, which is quite a nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The vet for animated heroes.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Well, thank you so much.
It's been
an absolute pleasure, and I want to get you back when you're world dominated. Should be in a couple of years.
Oh yeah, sooner than that. We'll do it sooner. Yeah.
All right. Cheers. Hi everybody, thank you so much for listening to the Purpose People podcast. How you can help us is to like and subscribe our YouTube channel. You can also subscribe to our podcasts on Apple, Spotify, Google and Amazon. That helps us get our message out there to help people go after their dreams, double down on it and be successful in life on their terms.